I didn't know what this was when I first saw it. I thought, where are we? We're in London, whatever. But this actually is a significant picture because we spent so much time in Montreux, in the studio which we eventually bought, and did so much work there. And Montreux was a kind of, in Switzerland, was a kind of refuge for Freddie because he was very much pursued later on in his life. And Montreux was one of the places where he could just be private and not be molested. And this is him arriving for work, as he did every day, just next to the studio in Montreux by the lake. It's the casino, the London casino. The room is still operational. A lot of fans go there now, and the studio is there set up as a kind of tourist place, so people can go in there and mix tracks that we did. And on special days, our engineers are there demonstrating stuff that we did. But this is Freddie in his kind of work mode, just arriving to make some more classics. And I'm very fond of this one because it's a private moment, and Freddie's playing one of my guitars. It's a hummingbird from Japan. And I can't remember exactly where it is, but I have this feeling that it's in the office in London. I think I recognise that settee. Maybe we'll find out. And I think I'm reading the Music Life magazine. We probably just came back from Japan. This is the book cover, of course, and one of my favourite pictures. I actually became intelligent enough to give my camera to actual photographers rather than random promotion people and friends. So this one is Neil Preston, who's a venerable, wonderful photographer. I think it's Asian, I think it's, Neil took some wonderful stereos for me, and obviously he knew exactly what to do. And I love this picture. You can see the veins in Freddie's arms, you can see the sweat. And that's our famous pizza oven lighting rig behind him. It was well hot. I mean, that was intensely hot. Because in those days, lights were incandescent. These days, they're LEDs or whatever, and there's no heat, just light. But in those days, you really got the atmosphere. And then lights. And you've got a suntan, too. Here's John doing his thing. You can see that this is around News of the World time because we have the robot here. And recently, on the recent tour, we revisited the News of the World and we brought this robot to life. I think a lot of you saw that. I really enjoyed doing that. Thanks. He's called Frank. Frank is the robot because he's named after his creator, Frank Kelly Freese, who is the wonderful illustrator for Astounding Stories, who did that cover specially for us. So there's Tiki. Thundering away. See, we've all got leads, you see. These days you have radio links, but in those days you have a curly lead, and that's your umbilical cord to the amp. And there's me. Thank you. Still very, very thin in those days.
Oh, you still are, shush.
Flattery will get you everything. Very stereoscopic. Love this one. This was actually taken by a fan. Because some of the fans had twigged, what I was doing with the stereoscope and everything, and they got stereo cameras and sent me some great pictures. And many of the pictures in the books were contributed by fans. I particularly love this one. Here he is again. Large as life. I think people in the front, you can see a lot of detail in this, but if you're in the back, you get a very kind of enhanced feeling of depth, am I right? So I think you're all getting a good view of this. And I love the fact that you can see all this junk that's on stage, it's all the gear that we were so familiar with. And some of it still exists, but it captures so many things that you didn't know you were capturing at the time. This is the climax of the show, of course, when the pizza oven rig is all, I call it the pizza oven because it was hot. It was all movable, so at the last point of the show it was tilted down so it pointed straight out into the audience, so the audience got roasted as well. And here's Freddie doing his thing at the very end of the show. I love that picture. This and the Neil Preston shot. And boy, there you go. And this is the same situation from the side of the stage. And again you can see Freddie on the right here, just turning around. And here's the rig. And Roger's about to kick his drum kit all over the place. I'm ready to run. I'm going to tell my Chinese friends that got a round of applause, because this is one of the very few pictures that you've seen tonight which wasn't taken in stereo. This is a conversion. I just like the shot so much, I gave it to my Chinese friends who are called William. They're all called William. And I sent them the shots and they send me back the conversions. I think they did a fantastic job. It looks so real. Yeah, so that's a kind of concoction. There's a few of those in the book, but not so many.
Oh, wow!
This is also conversion, also very well done, I think. Because it's hard to get shots of Roger anyway, and to get stereoscopic shots of Roger is even harder, because you have to be reasonably close to get a good parallax to get the stereo. But there he is doing his timp solo, which used to go on beside his drum solo. Somebody climbed up into the rig here to take these pictures, which I like a lot. And get an unusual view of us here. You can see we had a kind of catwalk even in those days. These days we have a really, really, really big catwalk. Which goes right to the center of the arena, and the whole stage is shaped like a guitar, which not everybody realized at the time. I think we should make it a bit more obvious. But there we are. You can see my pedal board here, which is full of lots of fancy stuff, but basically my gear is very simple. This I know is Japan because I'm playing piano and we're doing Teo Toriati, which is a song I wrote for the Japanese.
I love that song.
And Freddie's singing in the spotlight, and it's always an emotional moment because it was written about Japan. It's called Let Us Cling Together in the English part. The Japanese part I had some help with from the interpreter, but we always do it in some form when we go back, even these days. So I don't know who took this picture. It's a really nice memory. And this is the other thing you do in Japan, or one of the other things you do. Geishas do their performing, and again, there's a sort of Western misconception about geishas. There's nothing kind of salacious about them. They do this very artistic show, which they spend years and years perfecting. But the Japanese businessmen do appreciate it with beer. So this is why this is and sake and lots of food and stuff. But we were treated to a lot of Japanese culture, and we really fell in love with Japan, I have to say, and that's the love affair which still continues. This is funny. This is Japan at the station. What would happen is there were thousands of fans, and we were treated like the Beatles there, which really kind of changed our whole concept of ourselves, I think. But we would be herded through the streets, hurried through the streets by lots of security guards to get the train, but then the train wouldn't be there. So we would kind of wait there with the fans all being held back behind barriers and feeling rather stupid. And it's just a typical scene in Japan, and we all thought it was really amusing. The Japanese people were so kind to us, and still are. I love to visit Japanese temples. And Shinto, this is Shinto Shrine, which is generally next to a Buddhist temple. And all these little lanterns come on at night. It's very beautiful. I love the gardens in Japan. It's another story, I guess. Here I am with a Japanese interpreter going out in the markets and enjoying local culture again. And again, I see this person, I don't know this person now, but she looks so real there. I think it's like a time machine. I feel like I'm there at that moment. I'm looking incredibly young and thin. And lots of hair. Of a different colour. How did that happen? Here's Roger. This is not a very high quality picture, but I love it because he's there wrestling with the dilemma of how to deal with the kendama. This is a very enjoyable Japanese toy. The Japanese were incredible to us. We arrived in the dressing rooms and it was full of presents from Japanese fans. Most places people come up and they ask for something, will you sign this, will you give me this? In Japan, they just want to give you presents, and they gave us all these wonderful traditional wooden toys, and this is one of them. You have to throw the wooden ball up, and it's attached by a string to this device here, and then you have to catch it in this cup, or else on the spike here, which is even more difficult. And we all spent ages trying to perfect this. And I brought some back, I still have some of these things, and Denise took pictures of them. But, just lovely toys, and of course all these paper things that they make, little dolls and spinning tops and yo-yos. Lots of lovely Japanese traditional, these spinning tops are amazing Japanese traditional crafts. Freddie, on the other hand, was not that interested in the toys. He was just like, bring me the samurai swords and get rid of the rest of the stuff. But he loved Japanese art and he loved pottery. And here he is, enjoying shopping, and Diki's tagging along there. But I don't think Diki bought that many pots. Shift of scenery, again we're jumping. This is Sao Paulo, Brazil, and that's going to be an audience of about 200,000.
Wow.
And there we are taking rock and roll to Brazil, which has never happened before really. People used to sort of nip down there and do a couple of clubs or something. We took the whole rig in 2 jumbo jets and set up the whole huge lighting rig and sound rig. And we didn't know if people were going to turn up, but they did. In both Argentina and Brazil, they filled these football stadiums. Notice they cover the grass because the grass is precious. Football to the South Americans is like cricket is to the Australians, or baseball is to this country. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it football with that strange shaped ball? Not a ball at all. Rolling. Anyway, there we are, looking out. This is pre-gig. We're getting ready, doing the sound check, and the people are. No, I think we're after sound check. The people are already starting to come in. And here's the rig, which you can see is giant.
Wow.
We took that all around Argentina and Brazil, and it was always packed. And the amazing thing was, they don't speak English down there, but they knew all the songs, and they could sing them in English. And they particularly the Argentinians, took hold of one particular song, Love of My Life, and made it their own. They sang it to us. It was incredible and continues to be. So again, I think the South Americans brought out another dimension in us as a band. We appreciated ourselves in a different way and angled ourselves in a slightly different way. And the fact that we played these football stadiums meant that we had some skills in communicating to a giant audience like this, particularly Freddie, who was just amazing and magical at getting across. So when we come to play Live Aid to a football stadium, to Wembley Stadium, we know what we're doing and we have an advantage. And people say, legendarily that we stole the show, but it's because we knew what to do. Very kind, thank you. And here we are, this is Roger's drum ready, testing out the tips. And here's my little bank of amps. I had a lot of them in those days. I only had 2 tiers in those days, now I have 3 tiers. And I do a bit of explanation in the book as to what they all do. But it's not really a matter of being loud, it's a matter of being clear and being able to make the harmonies come through, and the stereo chorus. These are all bits of the lighting rig, which again is all movable, and there's people up in that lighting rig in the show, flying them around like jump jets. So it's great fun, that whole production there. Change of scenery again, and I love the way these look in stereo. This is us making a video for Radio Gaga, and we were lucky enough to have the use of some of the Metropolis footage from Fritz Lang's film. And David Mallet, the director, very cleverly dressed us up and made props so that we would kind of fit into the film, so it all made sense. And this is something we spent a lot of time doing. But here's Freddie doing his thing. And he's rehearsing here, that's why I'm able to take pictures. But it was a great day, and I'm so glad I had a stereo camera with me. Here he's doing what the lady in the film does, adjusting this giant clock to work the factory. And the factory's manned by all these proles, if you like, and all these people who were kind of slaves to the regime. And we fly about in these things.
Oh my God.
And David Mallet, again, cleverly had this prop made, which is a nice kind of airplane thing, which will fly through the city, just as you see in the Metropolis film. Is everybody familiar with Metropolis?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a wonderful film to see. It's a silent black and white film made by Fritz Lang. Absolutely classic. And it's about how the future could be, when society gets split between the haves and the have-nots, and I think it's coming true. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. In your country and mine.